जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिशिमाद His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय। ISKCON BBT संस्थापकाचार्य His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय। Srimad Bhagavatam की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So this morning we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1 in the matter of Questions by Vidura, Text 33. Kaccit chivaṁ devaka-bhoja-putryā viṣṇu-prajāyā iva deva-mātuḥ ya vai sva-garbheṇa dadhāra devam trayī yathā yajña-vitānam artham kaccic śivam devaka-bhoja-putryā viṣṇu-prajāyā iva deva-mātuḥ ya vai sva-garbheṇa dadhāra devam trayī yathā yajña-vitānam artham kaccic śivam devaka-bhoja-putryā viṣṇu-prajāyā iva deva-mātuḥ ya vai sva-garbheṇa dadhāra devam trayī yathā yajña-vitānam artham kaccit śivam devaka-bhoja-putryā viṣṇu-prajāyā iva deva-mātuḥ ya vai sva-garbheṇa dadhāra devam trayī yathā yajña-vitānam artham Vaishnavis? Kaccit, weather, śivam, everything well. Devaka-bhoja-putryāḥ, of the daughter of King Devaka-bhoja. viṣṇu-prajāyāḥ, of she who gave birth to the personality of Godhead. Eva, like that of deva-mātuḥ, of the mother of the demigods. Aditi, Ya, one who, why, indeed, sva-garbheṇa, by her own womb, dadhāra, conceived, devam, the Supreme Lord, trayī, the Vedas, yathā, as much as, yajña-vitānam, of spreading the sacrifice, artham, purpose. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. As the Vedas are the reservoir of sacrificial purposes, so the daughter of King Devaka-bhoja conceived the Supreme Personality of Godhead in her womb, as did the mother of the demigods. Is she, Devakī, doing well? Purport. The Vedas are full of transcendental knowledge and spiritual values, and thus Devakī, the mother of Lord Krishna, conceived the Lord in her womb as the personified meaning of the Vedas. There is no difference between the Vedas and the Lord. The Vedas aim at the understanding of the Lord, and the Lord is the Vedas personified. Devakī is compared to the meaningful Vedas and the Lord to their purpose personified. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to text 33 of Canto 3, Chapter 1 in the matter of questions by Vidura. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana-shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta-padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana-saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namam viṣṇu-prajāyā Krishna Preshtāya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Namacharya Padayane Taikrapa Pradayane Gaurakata Dhamadaya Nagragramatarine Namam Viṣṇu-prajāyā Krishna Preshtāya Bhūtale Srimate Gopi Paranadana Iti Namine. Namam Viṣṇu-prajāyā Krishna Preshtāya Bhūtale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Vanchakalpattarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha paritanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Shri Guruntarinam yatkripatamaham bande Paramanandamadavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet smrite vipritam syat Shri Chaitanyam namamitam. This morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class was supposed to be given by Kripanidhi Prabhu. However, he was not feeling well, so I was requested to give the class in this place. I'm nowhere in comparison to Kripanidhi Prabhu. His classes are very nectarian. So I'll try my best to speak on this verse. Here we see Vidura, in this chapter we see Vidura inquiring about different great personalities, different great devotees. Now, yesterday he was inquiring about Vidura. So today he is inquiring about Devakī. And it's interesting that there is a reference to Devakī when he inquires about Devakī. He says that as the Vedas are the reservoir of sacrificial purposes, so the daughter of King Devaka-bhoja conceived the Supreme Personality of Godhead in her womb, as did the mother of the demigods. Is she, Devakī, doing well? So in the purport we saw how Srila Prabhupada explains, and this is the explanation also by the previous acharyas, that Devakī is compared to the meaningful Vedas and the Lord to their purpose personified. In the Bhagavatam, we find that Devakī, 6 children of Devakī were killed, and the 7th child was Lord Baladev, and the 8th child was Krishna. So our acharyas have explained, especially Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he gives an elaborate explanation of what happened. So there it is explained that the 6 sons of Devakī were originally the sons of Marichi. However, they laughed at Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma began to chase his own daughter. Because they laughed at Lord Brahma, they had to take birth as the sons of a demon named Kalanemi. And Kalanemi's father was Hiranyakashipu. And these sons, when they were born from Kalanemi, they performed some tapasya to satisfy Lord Brahma. And you know, Hiranyakashipu, he doesn't like, without informing Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu always has this thing that he is the Lord of the universe. So when he heard that the sons of Kalanemi approached Brahma, performing tapasya to receive the benediction of not being, of being immortal, so they became upset, and he cursed them that in your next life, your father, your current father, Kalanemi, he will kill you. So Kalanemi was born as Kamsa. And these 6 children were born from the womb of Devakī. Now the question could be asked that how is it possible that Devakī, who is the embodiment of pure goodness, how could demons take shelter in her womb? So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he refers to the Bhagavad Gita, verses 4 and 5, chapter 9, where Krishna says, I am in everything, at the same time everything is not in me. So, and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explained this is the Acintya Bheda philosophy. So, although they were born from the womb of Devakī, at the same time, Devakī was untouched by she was still completely pure. She was untouched by the modes. So these 6 sons of Devakī are further explained as the representation of the 6 enemies: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that when these 6 enemies are destroyed, then Lord Baladev comes to prepare for the Lord's arrival. And here Devakī is referred, in that context, Devakī is referred to as the devotee, and Kamsa is material nature. So Devakī had the fear of Kamsa. So it is explained that the devotees fear material nature. It is by devotees fearing material nature that they can overcome these 6 enemies. Now, what does it mean, fearing material nature? Because we know that devotees are also referred to as Abhayam, Abhaya Charana Ravinda. So devotees are meant to be fearless. So what is it that devotees have to be fearful of Maya? And that is the process for destroying the 6 enemies. So fear is of 2 types. There is fear caused by Maya, and there is fear of Maya. So when we say Abhay Charana Ravinda, Prabhupada is Abhay Charana Ravinda, devotees are fearless by having taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada, what it means is that we are free from the fear caused by Maya. How are we free from the fear caused by Maya? Maya causes fear when we identify with material nature. When we identify with this body, we become fearful. This is called fear caused by Maya, because we are identifying with the body, so therefore Maya causes fear. So any form of material identification, any form, be it gross, subtle, any form of material identification produces fear. So therefore this world is called the world of anxiety. The smallest form, the slightest trace of material identification, subtle or gross, causes anxiety. So that is called the fear caused by Maya. And when devotees take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, they are free from material identification. So they are free from the fear caused by Maya. However, there is another category of fear called the fear of Maya. which is the fear which Devakī had. She's afraid of Kamsa. So devotees at all points in their life, what to speak of sadhana bhaktas, even Prabhupada, once he was in front of the deities and he was praying. So a disciple approached him, although it is not appropriate to ask the spiritual master, what did you pray for? Nevertheless, this devotee asked, he didn't know about it, and Prabhupada took that question in his stride. He didn't chastise him, and he simply said, "Oh, I was praying to Krishna that I may never fall down." So this is the consciousness of a pure devotee. Pure devotee knows that Maya is Krishna's energy. So Maya can capture us at any time. So they are always afraid of Maya. The speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami, 16 years he stayed in the womb of his mother. Due to what? Fear of Maya. And Krishna personally had to assure him, please come out, I will protect you. So on that assurance he came out. Now these are not ordinary personalities. Prabhupada of course is a Nitya Siddha. So they are showing us what is the standard of pure devotional service. The standard of pure devotional service is not that we are callous to Maya. We are afraid of falling into Maya. Now we may think, what kind of life is this? Constantly we are afraid. So that's not the intended meaning. The point is that a devotee is always conscious of their insignificant position. So they constantly take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So Abhaya Charanaravinda. So Krishna is called the Abhaya Charanaravinda. Right? So when you take shelter of Krishna, whose lotus feet gives fearlessness. So that is the idea. It is not that one is thinking, oh, Maya is there, Maya will capture me, Maya will capture me. That's not what one is thinking. Rather, it is manifested as taking firm shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So, by taking firm shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, one is secure. So one knows that I am so insignificant. I can't do it on my own. I just can't do it on my own. I have to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So then the question can come up, what does taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna mean? Prabhupada explains in very simple language, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna means to take shelter of the devotees. So, we can't see Krishna in this world with our mundane eyes. So, Krishna manifests in the archa form so that we can render some service to him. And that service to the archa form cannot be rendered directly. Can only be rendered through the devotees. So we have the parampara. So we render service to Krishna through the parampara. That's therefore the spiritual masters in the parampara are referred to as the transparent via media. It is direct service in the sense that we are serving directly, but it is through a transparent via media. So it may sound a little difficult to comprehend. Many spiritual matters are like that. It is direct service to Krishna, but through the transparent via medium of the spiritual masters. So in the third canto, Srila Prabhupada uses an expression called imperceptible liberation. Imperceptible liberation. So, which means that by being in Krishna consciousness under the direction of Srila Prabhupada, the great devotees, the spiritual masters, and the previous acharyas, So one is imperceptibly liberated. Imperceptibly liberated means we may not perceive it, but in the eyes of Krishna, such a soul who is properly engaged is already liberated. That does not mean that one has already attained prema bhakti, but the point is this person who is rendering service under the direction of the parampara, specifically for members of ISKCON, under the directions given by Srila Prabhupada, is no longer under the clutches of Maya. So we should be confident of this. Prabhupada says this very nicely. He says, this is one of the important elements in the practice of devotional service. One should be confident. So we should be confident that we have been given this great fortune of being placed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada has created that good fortune for us. So now let us just hold on to that good fortune. So in our system of Krishna consciousness, like if we go to Vrindavan, everyone is talking about, generally, I'm not talking about ISKCON, generally they're all talking about the mercy of Srimati Radharani. We don't talk as much about the mercy of Srimati Radharani as the mercy of the spiritual master. So there is some differentiating factor there, that we generally talk about the mercy of the spiritual master. The reason being that here we see or we know from the past times that Balaram appears before the appearance of Krishna. So Balaram prepares for the appearance of Krishna. And Lord Balaram is the Adi Guru. And Srila Prabhupada explains that Bala means spiritual strength. So Lord Balaram is the Adi Guru. And we take shelter of the Guru. And this Srila Prabhupada emphasized it so much that the samsara prayers are unique to ISKCON's Mangalarti. These are not established by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. These prayers were established as the Mangalarti prayers by Srila Prabhupada to drive home the point, because he said that the success of the reason for my success was I simply believed in my spiritual master. I did not deviate even 1 inch from what my spiritual master said. I simply tried to please him. In fact, the only question that Srila Prabhupada said that he asked his spiritual master was, how shall I please you? So Prabhupada wanted to emphasize this point. This is the secret of our success. So the samsara prayers ends with that. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. So yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. If you please the spiritual master, it's as good as pleasing the Supreme Lord. Yasya prasadam na gati kutopi. So if you don't please the spiritual master, there is no hope. And in ISKCON, everyone is meant to please Srila Prabhupada and his followers who are trying to please him. So this aspect is our our identity, our constitutional identity of all members of ISKCON, that we are including, in fact, even the Guru Puja. Guru Puja is not in the Gaudiya months. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not institute a daily Guru Puja, but we have Srila Prabhupada's Guru Puja every day. So if we notice the structure, the practice that Srila Prabhupada gave us, it is focused on this aspect. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadan nagati kutopi, dhyayan stuvam stasya yashastri sandhyam vande guru shri charana ravindam. So this aspect is foundational in our practice of Krishna consciousness. And this Srila Prabhupada even explains very nicely in his Chaitanya Charitamrita purport. Because sometimes devotees wonder, in Vrindavan, right in the middle of Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada established Krishna Balaram deities. Krishna Balaram deities. So sometimes devotees speculate, oh, he did that because he is in the Vatsalya, the Sakya Rasa. So therefore, and so many different speculations about why Prabhupada established Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan. But Prabhupada himself addresses this very nicely, and it's a very fascinating purport to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'll just read out that section. This is from the Madhya Leela, chapter 16, text 281. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally renovated Vrindavan Dham and advised his chief disciples Rupa and Sanatan to develop it and open it to attract the spiritual vision of the general populace. At present, there are about 5,000 temples in Vrindavan, and still our society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is constructing a huge, magnificent temple for the worship of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, along with Radha Krishna and Guru Gauranga. Since there is no prominent Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, we are attempting to construct one so that people will be attracted to Krishna Balaram or Nitai Gaura Chandra, Vrajendra Nandanye Sachisuta Haila say. Narottam Das Thakur says that Balaram and the son of Maharaj Nanda have advented themselves as Gaura Nitai. To propagate this fundamental principle, we are establishing a Krishna Balaram temple to broadcast to the world that worship of Gaura Nitai is the same as worship of Krishna Balaram. So there it is, that we cannot approach Radha Krishna without the mercy of Gaura Nitai or Krishna Balaram. So this is the point, that this is something that we should never ever forget. Because sometimes, as Prabhupada is very concerned about the fact that when devotees went to Vrindavan, they would loiter outside our campus. That happens a lot more today than it was during Prabhupada's time. And they come up with various ideas. Oh, if I could just have the darshan of Srimati Radharani, my life is fulfilled. I mean, people say these kind of things, today, even today. So, but Srila Prabhupada is clarified for us. There is no question of Radha Krishna without Gaura Nitai and Krishna Balaram. So we have Gaura Nitai, we have Krishna Balaram, then we have Radhesham. So this aspect of the pastime where the 6 asuras are first killed, or rather Kamsa kills the 6 children, then Balaram appears, and then Krishna appears. So this is an important feature of our practice of Krishna consciousness, that by taking shelter of Gaura Nitai, specifically their representatives, then all that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. Okay, so I just want to read those verses from Bhagavatam with their translations. Specifically, please, I mean, of course, the verses are there, but the translations are important because they give us that sequence of what happens. So I'm just going to read that once. Just give me a second. Okay, Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 17, 18, 19, 20. There's a sequence there. Shrunutam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridi antasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhurtsatam. Sri Krishna, who resides within everyone's heart and is the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of that devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Then, Nashtaprayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regularly serving the Bhagavata, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and devotion unto the Supreme Lord, whose praised choice verses is fully established. Tadarajo tamas bhava kama lobhadyas chaye chetayeter anaviddam sitam sattve prasidati. At that time, one is not affected by the modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust and greed. Then the mind is established in goodness and becomes fully satisfied. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. Thus the man enlivened by devotion to the Lord is freed from material association and comes to realize the Supreme Lord. So here we see Krishna, who is residing in the heart. He cleanses the heart of the desire for material enjoyment when we develop the urge to hear his messages. So, by hearing the messages from the Bhagavata, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. So, this is the process that we listen to the Bhagavatas. So, we have the book Bhagavata, we have the person Bhagavata. So, we read Srila Prabhupada's books, the Bhagavatam. We associate with Srila Prabhupada through his purports, and we hear the Bhagavatam classes. So, we have the book Bhagavata, we have the person Bhagavata. And by regular practice of hearing Bhagavatam, all that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. So, modes of passion, ignorance, they vanish. And one eventually realizes the Supreme Lord. So, it is very important that this aspect of taking shelter of the Bhagavatas is essential to our, is a core element of our practice. Yes, of course, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is fundamental, is the Yuga Dharma. However, in the very first verse of the Shikshashtakam, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam, you also have Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Now, this is a very interesting thing, because Vidya Vadu, so Vidya is referred to as a Vadu, and in Sanskrit the word Vadu means a bride. So then the question could be asked, Vidya is a Vadu of who? So Vidya, so the first verse of Shastram explains, Vidya is the bride of the holy name. So we chant the holy names along with Bhagavat Vidya, which we receive from the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavatas. So both these elements of our practice are crucial, are critical. Then, as yesterday we were, Jeptak Maharaj was talking about how Akrura is always thinking of the Lord. So by chanting the holy names of the Lord, Shravanam Kirtanam, chanting the holy names, and Shravanam, hearing the Bhagavata, reading the Bhagavatam and hearing from the Bhagavatas. So by the chanting of Shravanam and Kirtanam, Smaranam automatically happens. It's not, we don't extraneously impose Shravanam, but it spontaneously manifests in the heart when we properly chant and when we properly hear. So, this is our process. So we take shelter of Gauranithai or Krishna Balaram in order to achieve the mercy of Srimati Radharani or Radhesham Radha Madhava. So in this way, the process of bhakti, as Prabhupada would say, is a very scientific process. It's a very scientific, it's not a sentiment. Oh, I like to pray to Radharani, I can pray to Radharani. I like to pray to somebody. It's not like that. There is a certain method. It's a science. So we have to give the science and practice the science as the professors of the science have presented it. The spiritual masters, the great acharyas. They've presented it in a certain manner. For us, the presentation has been given by Srila Prabhupada, our founder acharya. For us, that is the way. Whatever he has said, how to do it, that's how we practice. So we can come to the stage of realizing the personification of the Vedas, as it's mentioned in this verse. Krishna is the personification of the Vedas. So we can come to the point of realizing the personification of the Vedas by following the practice of bhakti as prescribed to us by our founder acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So these were a few thoughts that I had on this verse. If there are any comments or questions. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for your beautiful points. I have a doubt or a question about the actual narrative where we're at.
Yes.
With the 6 sons being cursed because they laughed. Now, we hear from Mahabharata, Dharma protects those who protect Dharma. Dharma hurts those who hurt Dharma. Yes. There's many verses also that say that one who remains silent in the face of a criminal act are guilty, are sinful by their silence, right? So I don't know if there's a difference between laughing at or criticizing or exposing, but it would seem from an external point of view that it's unfair that these 6 individuals get punished, cursed, for calling out or at least for laughing at an act which by all measures is very reprehensible. I mean, a father chasing after his young daughter is one of the worst crimes in existence. You can imagine the daughter's, psyche. So how do we understand that?
This is a very good point. In Burijan Prabhu's book, My Glorious Master, we get a glimpse of how to understand this. So there is an Indian gentleman. I don't recollect the details of the incident, but there is an incident where one of Prabhupada's disciples, he falls down from the Brahminical platform, and of course, he's grossly fallen from the Brahminical platform, and he comes back to Srila Prabhupada asking for forgiveness and things like that. So then there's an Indian gentleman there, and who tells Prabhupada that he's fallen and you cannot accept him and all kinds of things, And Prabhupada as he talks, Prabhupada gets more and more angry. He said, who are you to tell me? I am a spiritual master. I know what is to be done with him, So although the man is saying something which is right from the perspective of, okay, he's done something wrong. How is he a Brahmana? So what should be done with him is Prabhupada's jurisdiction. So because he was transgressing that and trying to ask for something specific or whatever, I don't know if he was asking for something specific, but his whole attitude was, I know what is to be done, or rather trying to push Prabhupada to do something. Of course, Prabhupada did whatever he wanted to do, but the point there was Prabhupada is emphasizing that he said this very clearly, I am a spiritual master. So I will decide what should be done with him. So like that, in the universal affairs, especially during those times, we are not talking about Kali Yuga, where there are people who are assigned to administer justice. And of course we know that Brahma gave up his body and things like that. So then he did undergo, it's as good as death. It is death in fact. He had to give up his body. So the punishment was very severe. And in fact, Prabhupada also explains this, that in Vedic times, punishments used to be very strong. Like for example, murder, hanged to death. Sometimes there is this whole debate about capital punishment. But Prabhupada explains that capital punishment is necessary, because otherwise next life they are going to they're going to suffer for whatever they did. So there is a certain system which needs to be administered. So the justice needs to be administered. So here the problem was that they were, it's okay. There is, I don't know how to put it. For example, let's say even if the guru has some difficulty, what's it? Viṣṇu-prajāyāḥ Narahari Sarkar. Yeah, he writes that even if the guru has some sensual fall down, the disciple should privately approach the guru and ask him about it and try to. And only if the guru is hopelessly entangled in sense gratification, he should be rejected. But not that a guru falls into sense gratification, immediately is rejected. But it says the disciple should approach him privately. And so there is a certain etiquette. It is not that the action is right, but there is a certain etiquette how it has to be dealt with. So that is where the problem was in case of the sons of Marichi. Like for example, even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there's Maryada. There is a certain etiquette that we all need to follow. And it's a transgression of Maryada which is not accepted in the Vedic culture. I mean Lord Chaitanya speaks about. So while justice has to be administered, it has to be administered by those who have to administer it. And if it is not being administered, everybody has a right to bring it up. That okay, there's justice needs to be administered here, which is not being done, which everybody has a right to bring it up. But one does not have the right to ridicule and things like that. That's which goes out of the etiquette. One can do whatever is necessary to bring justice, but then one goes beyond that into the areas of blasphemy and ridiculing and things like that. That's where the problem is. That's what I understand from the past.
Thank you.
Correct. Okay. So, yes, Navina Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Beautiful class. Could you say something about the balance between respecting Prabhupada as the founder Acharya and going overboard? We can see that nowadays a lot of devotees are like quarter-inch Ritwik. They're really close to, in the name of glorifying Prabhupada, actually insulting Prabhupada, because Prabhupada is part of the parampara, and Prabhupada has trained so many students to follow his example. So, can you say something how in the name of glorification, sometimes we can go overboard?
Okay. I addressed this in my last class, so I'll just speak about it briefly. There are two extremes. One is, before I talk about the extremes, let's define Prabhupada's position in relation to members of ISKCON. Like, for example, like we have this table, we have this different paraphernalia, you have this bottle and things like that. So if we were to be asked, whom does this belong to? Spontaneously we would say, this belongs to Prabhupada because this is ISKCON's property and belongs to Prabhupada. But when it comes to people, when we ask, whom do I belong to? Whom do you belong to? Then sometimes there is an ambiguity. Do we belong to the temple president? Do we belong to the guru, to the counselor? Whom do we belong to? If that is clarified, then a lot of the problems are solved. The point is that all members of ISKCON, both the soft assets, the hard assets, everybody belongs to Prabhupada, including us. Then the question is, what about others, right? So there are two extremes. One is, do we have a direct relationship with Prabhupada? We do have a direct relationship with Prabhupada. Is that the only relationship we have? No. Because we do have a direct relationship with Prabhupada in the sense that he is the founder Acharya. So his rules are he is the final authority in everybody's life in ISKCON. So in that sense, we have a direct relationship with Prabhupada. And his formula is what all of us follow. We follow a certain Mangala Arati, we follow a certain prayers at Mangala Arati, we follow a certain morning program. All that is his formula. So we have a direct relationship with him because we're following his instructions. At the same time, we also have a relationship with him through his followers. Because the question could come up that, okay, if we have a direct relationship with Prabhupada, is Prabhupada going to tell us what we are supposed to do? We're only going to get general instructions from Prabhupada. We're not going to get specific instructions from Prabhupada. That is given to us by our spiritual masters, by the temple president, or one's mentor, or whatever. So we also have to have that relationship, a relationship with Prabhupada through his representatives, which is what he talks about in his books also. Accept a bona fide guru, surrender unto, all these things he speaks about. So the two extremes are, if we say we only have a direct relationship with Prabhupada, that's all that matters, that's Ritvikism. Then you have the other extreme. I don't have any direct relationship with Prabhupada. I only have a relationship through my gurus and through my authorities. That's it. That's fanaticism. So you have two extremes. One is Ritvikism, then is fanaticism. The reality lies in between. We have a direct relationship with Prabhupada as our founder Acharya, and all of us follow his general instructions, and he is the final authority in everybody's life in ISKCON. But it's Prabhupada's own mandate that we have to accept a spiritual master, we have to follow the system of authority that he has set up in ISKCON, the GBC, the temple president, or whatever system of authority he has set up. So we also have a relationship with Prabhupada through his followers. So it's both.
With all respect, I pray I'm not being offensive, I have never heard a question like that in my entire 50 years of being a devotee. I just have not, I can't even imagine what it means to over-glorify Krishna or over-glorify Prabhupada or over-glorify, I'm not sure what extreme someone may have heard. We're reading Prabhupada's books for the next 10,000 years. Why is that? Why is every person in the history of ISKCON from the beginning, for the next 10,000 years, reading Prabhupada's books? Because Prabhupada was sent into this universe to give these books to the world for 10,000 years. And each word, and Prabhupada told me this personally, each word so carefully selected so that they would have full meaning now, full meaning in 1,000 years, full meaning in 5,000 years. We cannot imagine how Prabhupada selected these words. But at different times he revealed that in his heart, he would be discussing with Krishna himself. And then the words would come. And that's why we're reading these books, these specific Prabhupada books for the next 10,000 years. So again, I don't know what kind of extreme glorification someone's referring to, but that's the proper glorification.
I think he's referring to false glorification. He's not referring to over glorification. I mean, although he may have used that expression, because what the Ritviks do is that they say that Prabhupada is the last Acharya in our line. So they don't use the word last Acharya, but okay. Prabhupada is the last Acharya in the line. So that's a false glorification.
Why would anyone say that? That would be like saying Prabhupada's teachings can't produce a pure devotee.
Yes, but that's what the Ritviks do, what to do. So that's...
I think if I read his question right, it's because we had it at one point it could become like a personality cult. So in that sense, you know, after Prabhupada left the planet, then those 11, you know, we put a lot of faith and a lot of trust in these personalities to push the movement forward and to serve Prabhupada in a the best they could, but in a pure way. We were very vulnerable to these 11 by surrendering our lives. And so I think when there was a discrepancy in their, then it did create a disturbance. And some of us are still living with those disturbances. However, due to the grace of Prabhupada and the scriptures that he translated so beautifully for our purification, we still are attracted to chanting Hare Krishna and to sadhu sangha and to taking the association of devotees. So I think what the Prabhu was referring to is sometimes we may, what he was saying, over-glorify. First of all, we need to understand what is Guru and who is Guru, and then maybe there wouldn't be these dilemmas that when one who's representing Prabhupada falls short, that there wouldn't be such disturbance. But we have to know who and what is Guru.
Like sometimes there are claims made about Prabhupada. The Ritviks say, okay, what is the Shastric reference for this? Oh, Prabhupada can change Shastra. But Prabhupada did not present himself as somebody who changed Shastra. He adjusted Shastra according to time, place, circumstances. But he never said that, I can change Shastra. Things like that, So that's another example of, okay, Prabhupada can do anything. He can even change Shastra. He never claimed that. He never claimed, I can change Shastra and things. He rather said that I'm representing Shastra and representing the Acharyas. So sometimes they go to these kind of extremes. That's an argument which they use actually.
I'm sorry. And again, with all respect, I have no idea where this could possibly arise from. There wasn't a moment, not even a moment, when Prabhupada was not thinking of Krishna constantly in a trance practically. Prabhupada was never attracted to one single thing in this material universe. Can anyone else ever say that? So, of course, not. So, the misunderstanding that you may be referring to after Prabhupada's immediate disappearance was a big mistake by his followers, which I was one of them, to not explain the difference between a Diksha Guru from a different category, like a Madhyama category, and the founder Acharya, who is the Siksha Guru of every devotee and their disciples for the next 10,000 years. This is a Siksha Sampradaya primarily. We get Diksha to connect ourselves to the Siksha. But if you look in the introduction page of Bhagavad Gita, going back 5,000 years, Prabhupada wrote the names of the principal gurus in our line. Mathematically, do you know how many names must be missing to cover 5,000 years? So of course, there's Diksha Gurus, and then there's the pure devotee Gurus who are, but when we deal with Prabhupada, he is everyone's Siksha Guru. And the simple job description of our ISKCON Gurus, simple job description is, give Prabhupada to your disciple. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.